The latest update of FC25 is here, and that means we all need the latest sliders to use to make the game as realistic as possible. Title Update 11 drops just 3 or 4 days after Title Update 10, and usually when EA do this, I'm always nervous. I'm always wondering what they have broken, what they have taken up that was working, because I was enjoying the previous Title Update. I'll say this one is also not too bad either, so make sure to stay tuned. This is the FC25 Realism sliders and settings for Title Update number 11. Drop a like on the video if you're going to enjoy it, and subscribe as well. I'd greatly appreciate that. Now, the two updates weren't too far apart from each other, and not too much changed. I think in the past 3 years or so of me doing Realism slider videos, this is the least different 2 sets of sliders have ever been. Quite a lot of them are similar, so this is not going to be a long video in the slightest. Once again, I just want to quickly thank all the members that have joined, everybody that has continued to support me as well. If you are seeing this as just a subscriber or just watching it as a casual viewer on YouTube, you're getting it at a later stage. If you want exclusive early access to this kind of video as soon as it drops, and other exclusive content regarding realism settings, realism sliders, all kinds of tips and tutorials and stuff like that, make sure to be a member as well. But let's get straight into the settings. I'm still using world class, ultimate, and legendary difficulty. None of them are completely broken, so all 3 work with these sliders. These sliders will work all the way from professional up to ultimate, I'd say. So if you're playing between those difficulties, these will be fine for you. Now, the gameplay type, of course, is custom. The wind effects are low and the weather effects are on, and all of these sliders remain the same from the previous set, right? So sprint speed for both user and CPU is on 34. We have the user acceleration on 49. The CPU acceleration is on 48. The shot error for the user is on 59, and the shot error for the CPU is on 56. All of those are the exact same for the previous set. Not too much has changed there. Not too many changes in speed or acceleration or shooting or any of those sliders, so they remain the exact same. Pass error as well remains the same with 74 for the user and 60 for the CPU, but shot speed is different, and it was in the pitch notes that they have adjusted the speed of certain shots, and you really feel the shooting playstyles a bit more after this update. So we have just made a slight moderation where the shot speed has gone up to 42 for the user, and it's gone up to 41 for the CPU. The pass speed as well, just a slight decrease on the user side, down to 31. The CPU pass speed is on 7, injury frequency is on 75 for both, and we have injury severity on 36 for both. We changed this one in the previous slider set. We're keeping it right now. Again, not too many injuries. I don't know if it's just me. You guys do let me know in the comments, especially to those who play career mode. Do you get many injuries? Do you get many long-term injuries? Is it unrealistic? And which slider settings are you using specifically for the injuries one? Because, yeah, for whatever reason, in FC25, I haven't received many injuries at all. Goal capability has been on 59 for quite some time now, and I'm happy with it there for both the user and the CPU. The marking has been slightly lowered, actually, down to 40 for both the user and the CPU. Finding too many instances of players getting drawn out of position, defenders walking out of their defensive line, which leaves spaces for players to run into, which means, you know, you can't set an offside trap, you can't really track runners. So we've lowered it slightly. We've also changed up another setting within the game settings that ties into the marking, so make sure you stick around for that as well, which also helps with that issue. So the marking is down to 40 for both. We then have the run frequency still the same on 25 for both the user and the CPU. The positioning sliders aren't too dissimilar either. We have the line height on 65 for both user and CPU. The line length has been shortened just slightly, down to 34 for both, and then we have the width remaining on 48, and fullback positioning stays the same for both the user and the CPU on 68. We have been shifting the power bar quite a bit over the last few updates, but I think 37 is the current sweet spot, so that's where we have set it. And then first touch control error, we have modified that. The first touch control error for the user is down to 3, and the first touch control error for the CPU is up to 98, so almost at the very max. That's because after this update, especially again at the high difficulties, this is where you'll notice it. If you're playing on world class lower, right? You won't experience this as much. A few instances in World Class, but less so compared to Legendary and Ultimate, where you find it difficult to win the ball back, where you tackle the ball and it falls back to an opponent and stuff like that, right? That is more prevalent following this update than it was before. So that's why we have modified the CPU first touch control era ever so highly, and we have lowered the user one to kind of find that balance. It still happens, it's not perfect, but it is much better now. I forgot to show this part in the last video, and I do apologize for that, but the CPU sliders, we have it set to tactical. I like tactical because the teams play as how their tactics intend them to play in real life, right? It's more realistic, it's more of a simulation, because at the end of the day, we all have an idea of how the game is going to go or how the opponent are going to play when we play against Liverpool, right? We know they're going to be high pressing, they're going to be very energetic, very direct. We all know, or we have an idea of how we're going to play when we play against Manchester City and what their approach is going to be, right? And they're going to try to keep the ball and be very slow and methodical in their build-up. So that is reflected in tactical. So you see these values over here, they all change up depending on the team, and that is simulated in the matches. So I would highly suggest you guys use tactical instead of like dynamic or something like that. Dynamic is more of a challenge. Dynamic is more random. They may decide to play long ball or counterattack or something like that, right? But that's less realistic. That's where if you're just like, hey, this is getting the predictable, I just want to challenge, go for dynamic or even modify them yourselves. But I am on tactical. The gameplay difficulty that's specifically in this video and in this match right now is on legendary. So yeah, but like I said, use World Class, Legendary, and Ultimate. Yeah, today's video is not too long. I just want to get the sliders out to you guys out there because like I said, even at the beginning, it's not going to be too different, right? Very few changes were made. I think it has to do with the fact that the updates were so close to each other and not many additions were made. It was mainly to fix bugs in career modes with stuff such as live start points, a few glitches in there as well where the correct fixtures weren't being reflected, a few changes in Ultimate Team as always and stuff. So it was more fixing errors and fixing bugs than actually changing up gameplay too much. The big gameplay changes happened between title update 9 and 10, and most of those were positive. These two updates aren't too different. Honestly, they aren't too different. If anything, I kind of like this one more. It's a bit slower in my opinion. You guys do let me know what you think. But as always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the update, on the sliders, on the game, on what content you want to see on the channel, be it from a member's perspective or be it from just a casual channel subscriber's perspective. Whichever category you fall under, you are still very much important and appreciated on this channel. So drop a like on the video if you haven't enjoyed it, and please do subscribe as well. I'd greatly appreciate that. I've been Ricky Pressure, and I'll see you guys next time.